You're tuned into the Writing Community Chat Show, the live streaming YouTube podcast that brings you the stories of authors, screenwriters, and more. Indie or established, this show's for the community, and we invite you to be a part of it. Head to the writingcommunitychatshow.com for more info. The WCCS. Together as one, we get it done.
Hello and welcome to the Writing Community Chat Show. Hello everybody and welcome to the Writing Community Chat Show. We have a fantastic guest lined up for you this week. On the eve of Valentine's Day, we couldn't have asked for a better guest to join us and talk about their writing career and the content that is in those books. So if you've got any questions, please do think about them and consider putting them in the chat. If you are in the chat, then please do enjoy the live element of this show where you can engage with the other people in the chat as well and get your questions asked. If you're watching it back or listening back, thank you so much. We do appreciate those listeners and the viewers. If you want to engage with us at any stage after watching something back, we're on all social media pretty much. So just drop us a comment somewhere and we'll be more than happy to get involved with that. Mr. Hooley is joining us. He is late as usual, but not normally this late. So hopefully he's okay, but he'll be with us very soon. Hello in the chat again. What we've got to talk about this week is the query clinic is now open and submitting your ready for your submissions on Substack. So if you've got a blurb, a pitch, or your first 10 pages you want to be critiqued in the best kind of way, and use that information to share and to teach the community through our editing and our comments, then please do go to our Substack. Look for that post, which is one of the latest ones, and you can submit that work in there and send it to us on email, and we will get into that work and then showcase it. What else? Okay, so you may know, if you've watched this show, I did a little video on this earlier. We have been to the Harrogate Crime Writers Festival for the past 3 years in a row, moderating for Pan Macmillan, doing some fantastic interviews, networking with people, interviewing brilliant authors. We've been officially invited back for year 4, so that is very good. That's in July. We're looking forward to that. If you are in or around Harrogate, please consider going. It's a fantastic little writing festival. You'll find the biggest names in crime writing there. You'll find lots of indie authors trying to find out about the craft, listening to interviews like we do. So that's really good to look forward to. We've also been invited to something that's happening very soon, and it's our first time, is the London Book Fair. Now, this is much more of an official looking version of the Harrogate Crime Writers Festival. This incorporates all of the book world, all of the writing elements, and that is in March. So if you're around in March, then consider popping into the London Book Fair, coming to see one of our interviews. We'll post more about that, but that is coming up very soon as well. Here's Chris Hooley. Hello, Chris.
Hello. I'm testing a new microphone. So can you hear me?
I can hear you, so that's good.
Does it have less echo than the previous one?
It does seem to be at the moment, yeah.
Okay, that's good. We're in business.
A little bit. Yes.
Yeah, I couldn't leave you on your own for this show. Obviously talking about all things taboo.
Yeah, absolutely. How are you doing? How's your week been, Chris? That's where we normally start.
Yeah, it's been good. Obviously, the timing of this show is impeccable. What with Valentine's Day around the corner. So yeah, it's been a good week for everyone. Reading, writing. Hopefully that's the case. And people in the chat, hello to you.
I was just explaining how in weeks away, about a month away, we are heading to the London Book Fair for what could be an amazing experience for us, and networking with some more people in the world of publishing, editing, and writing. And we've only at the minute we've got 2 interviews booked in to do over the 3 days. I think it's 3 days. But we've also been told that we can interview lots of people off stage. But currently we've got a stage interview with 2 people on the first day and been invited to talk on the main stage. So that's kind of, it's a bit intimidating, but it's also very good for us. So we'll see what happens with that. And we will obviously produce a lot of content for you to see. So yes, we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, 30,000 people I get potentially at London Book Festival. So the main stage could be a bit daunting. I read the bio that they made for us before, and I was thinking, who are these guys?
It does look quite impressive as keynote speakers. However, oh my god, my desk is falling apart. However, it is a reflection of what we do. So, it's nothing that's fabricated. We are those people. We have that experience, and we have that many shows under our belt. So there is a reason why we're getting these invites, Chris, and it's 6 years of working hard every Friday night, sharing the amazing stories of the community around.
Yeah, and out of all the tips we've ever shared, we've never ventured in the tips that are going to be mentioned in tonight's book. So this is a first for us.
It is. And like you said, it's so well timed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce tonight's guest. We're going to get that person on. But like I said, to you guys watching this, please consider putting your comments in the chat, get involved with each other in the chat, talk to each other, make new friends in the chat, but also get your questions ready. So, like you said, it's Friday night. It's the eve of Valentine's Day. And love and perhaps a little bit of lust is in the air. So we've brought an expert. She's the internationally recognized sexologist, a best-selling and award-winning author, and a media personality who spent 25 years helping people navigate the messy, the complicated, and the wonderful world of intimacy. She's a pioneer of the self-help fiction genre, stories that don't just entertain you, but actually change you. Her brand new novel, The Taboo Show, love Chris's head, launches out tomorrow. So on Valentine's Day, and it promises to make us laugh, blush, and rethink everything we know about pleasure. Here to answer your questions, spicy or otherwise, please welcome the incredible Dr. Trina Read. Hello.
Hello. And as soon as this went on, I can see that. Oh, hold on. That's quite the. Sorry about that. Yeah. Hi guys, and it's my job to see how much I can make you blush in less than 50 minutes. Okay, timer's on. Let's get going.
Do you know what? It was a thing I used to do very often. It's not happened for a while, so your challenge is there, and I'm sure you can make it happen. Trina, how are you doing?
You know what? It's a really great day. I live in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and usually it's really cold here at this time of year. And for some reason, we have what's called a Chinook. Do you know what a Chinook is? So a Chinook is warm air that comes in from the coast, comes up over the mountains and into Calgary. So here, like the honest to goodness truth is, you can wake up and it's -10, and then by the time you go home, it's +10, and like that's just how we roll here in Calgary. I have at least 30 jackets, probably more, and I use each and every one of those jackets. People say, why do you have so many jackets? It's because we've got this wacky weather here in Calgary.
That would drive me insane. Nothing worse than being cold in the morning, but then to have that such shift in the temperature, I think I'm not too sure that I would enjoy.
Yes, well, no, truly, because you dress like you're in your winter jacket, you're in like you're just, and then by the time you come home, you're everything's off, and so like I said, so a lot of people here, this is the Canadian thing to do is you have your shorts and you have your a good winter jacket, and maybe, and that's what you do. You wear shorts with the winter jacket because you just don't know.
Yeah, we get those people in the UK and they're shorts all year round and jackets on, but the weather doesn't warm up for us. It just stays cold. But they're definitely, the shorts goers are out there. I think it's a worldwide thing. Yeah, brilliant. So, Trina.
Yes.
Your journey into the writing world, it didn't start with writing, but where did the inspiration come from? What was the first point you thought, what I'm doing needs to be put down on paper and my short stories need to be out there? Where did that start for you?
Well, I just finished graduate school. So I went to a school in San Francisco, go figure. And I had just finished, and I wanted to be an educator. And I just thought, well, why not send my local newspaper an article? And, I worked really hard. I was not a writer. So, I didn't know how to write. I didn't know anything. I just spent a lot of time putting together an article, and they accepted it. And then they brought me on as their sex columnist. And then that sex column went syndicated and across Canada. And, I loved it. I loved writing the column. But if you've ever had a column, it's like you have a time limit on, and your ideas just run out. And I know that sounds like odd, but I've also had a radio column where I was, I did it for 3 or 4 years. And again, I loved going every single week to do this radio column, but then the ideas just dried up. So, in 2008, I took this writing newspaper columns and I segued it into writing a nonfiction book. So, I did the whole shtick. I went and found myself an agent, and then I got myself a publisher, and I went, and at that time, in 2006, around that time, self-publishing was, you didn't have the platforms that you have now to easily self-publish. So like traditional publishing was the only way to go. So I published this nonfiction book. It was called Till Sex Do Us Part. And, at the time I was doing a lot of media. So I was on TV everywhere all the time. And because of that, because I had a good platform, the book went to bestseller status. And not soon, like not long after the book came out, maybe a year or two after that, the publisher went out of business, so you can't get the book anymore.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, so I walked away from that traditional publishing experience with a lot of information about how I wanted to move forward. And something I discovered was there are a section of women. So I write for women. I know men read about sex too, but I write for women. So there's a percentage of women who want to read nonfiction, but there's an even bigger percentage of women who don't want to read nonfiction. They just don't like it. And I get it. I don't really like nonfiction myself. So I didn't want to write another nonfiction. And I came up with this, it's my flagship program. It's a 5-step program. And I'm like, well, so I have this amazing program. It took me 20 years to develop. I don't want to put this into a nonfiction. So, can I write this in, can I create a fictional story? And you know how they say, if you knew what you were getting into and you got into it, you just never woulda. Well, I probably just never woulda, because moving from nonfiction writing, which is one side of your brain, over to the nonfiction side, like it was, definitely 10,000 hours worth of learning that skill. So I ended up so I took this 5-step program and I created this book called The Sex Course. It's about 4 women who take a sex course, which is kind of on the nose. And, and what I really like about it is it's about 4 very different women at very different places of their life. They're, one is single and one is divorced and one is a new mom and one is in perimenopause. So they're all taking in the same information. It's the information that I would teach, but it's really about, how that information is hitting them. So for me, as an educator, I'm always saying, if you want to improve your sex life, you need to do X, Y, and Z. But, I'm on the other side of this where it's like, well, so I'm a new mom and you're telling me this information and like, this is how I'm reacting to it. So it was, I don't know if that's the character arc journey that you were looking for, but so now the sequel to The Sex Course, which is what we're talking about now, is these same 4 women go into the Taboo Sex Show. You see, I'm on the nose with my titles. So here in Canada, we have had what's called a Taboo Sex Show, and it's like a trade show, and it goes across Canada. It's been going on for at least 20 years. And for many, many years, I was the main stage speaker at the Taboo Sex Show. So all these things happened to me, unbelievable things happened to me. And I put all those adventures into this new book. So, in this book, the 4 women, they each try something at the Taboo Show, and it opens up their world. So it's fun. So the thing is, I'm going to let you talk in just a minute. So the thing is, I really get that when it comes to sex, you have to make it funny. You have to make it, relatable and funny, and have those big feels. So, and that was probably, as far as a writer goes, putting in those, the roller coaster ride of emotions that people feel as they're learning this stuff and taking it in. It was, and the last thing I'll say is, before I wrote fiction, I looked down my nose at the fiction writers who wrote sex scenes. I'm like, ew, that's a terrible sex scene. How could they, like, ooh, and let me tell you, writing a sex scene is incredibly difficult. Like, I had no idea. And so anyways, I'm going to let you talk now.
No, that's absolutely fantastic. And I think one thing that jumped out at me there was when you're talking about the blend between fiction and non-fiction, and you kind of merging that together, which makes complete sense. I think that works perfectly for the gap in the market that you're talking about. But how did you approach that? And is there a way that if someone's looking to do it, you would give them advice to do that without perhaps leaning too far towards the self-help type element? Because if it's too self-help heavy, it won't read so well as a fiction novel.
No.
But if it's too fiction, it won't really give that advice. So how did you blend it to that to the level that was so well received?
I would, just to be candid, I would say that in my first book, I've got too much self-help in there. Like, it's not like I am teaching a course, and so the professor who's teaching the course is, teaching the self-help, and you're right, it does weigh it down. Like, it's kind of a slog to go through that. So I don't know how to explain this to you. I wish I could, but what happened was I wrote down, like, so for example, one of the characters in the Taboo Show, she takes a tantric course. And so what I did was I wrote down all the things about tantric that I would want people to know. And then I just started editing out. And it was more about her reaction to what the instructor was saying. So it wasn't about what the instructor said. It was about, like, how she was, like, he's like, because the one who takes tantric is a skeptic, and she's like, oh, I don't believe this. This is woo-woo. This is crap. Like, she's just not believing this tantric stuff. So for all of the self-help. So at the Taboo Show, another character and her boyfriend take a G-spot seminar. And, I've taught the G-spot seminar a bazillion times, right? So, like, I was just, going through my speech of what I would say if I was up on stage doing the G-spot, right? And then I just had to, like, take 80% of it out, because even my editor was like, there's, but the thing is, I'm just like, well, if somebody really wants to learn how to do this, shouldn't they be able to find out? But no, if what my job is, and I don't know if this is helpful, but my job is, like, if this piques your interest and you're like, hey, I think I would like to try that with my partner. There's about a million articles on Google that you can look up, or you can go on my YouTube channel, or, there's like a million places that you can find out how to do that thing. So it was really, I've always thought that, the best writers are amazing editors. And so it was really about me editing out, and the self-help are my darlings. They're absolutely my darlings. So I just, it was like cutting a hole in my chest to, like, take the stuff out. But because I just feel like everybody would want to have this information. But anyways, that's a really long explanation to your really short question.
It was quite a long question, to be fair. I know Chris is dying to jump in there, but I've got one question, and it's the G-Spot seminar. Do you remember one question in particular that may have been very funny, or like the weirdest, perhaps, or funniest question that you had from an audience during that time?
Well, so I get the audience. So when I'm doing the G-Spot seminar, I get it's all very interactive, right? So we're doing the things together. Yes, this is me doing and I'm showing, and so I get the audience to all say all at once, you've got to be with the P. So when you're being with the P, you can move into the G-Spot orgasm. So I would say, and I've never had a lot of hecklers, and if I did have hecklers, they're nasty hecklers, and I just don't want to repeat what they say. But I did put the nasty hecklers in the book. They're like, "Show us your tits," and I'm like, "No, that's not my job here. My job is not to show you my tits. My job here is to give you some education." So, yeah,
fair enough.
Come on, repeat it. Repeat with me. Chris's, you gotta be, come on, be with the P.
You gotta be with the P.
Gotta be with the P. To get to the G.
Yeah. No, do you know what?
I'm confused because...
Oh, go on.
No, I was going to say P means different things in the UK. There's the letter P, and then when you put anatomy in the mix, it does confuse you. I'm like,
oh. Well, I can't say you got to be with the urine. It doesn't really have the same.
No, it doesn't have the same ring to it. It's not the same bell.
Doesn't have the same cachet, no. I bet you never thought you'd be discussing this tonight.
No, definitely not, ever in my life. But yeah, my question, I suppose, is obviously as a writer, like when you talk to somebody and you meet them for the first time and they say, "Oh, what do you do?" And you go, "I'm a writer." People naturally go, but then when you go, "I'm a sexologist, I'm a writer," I was just wondering, what people's reaction to you is in that sort of moment, because I think a lot of people would either be genuinely interested or they would get really nervous and sort of back away, like myself or Chris would probably do in that moment. So I just wanted to know if you could sort of shed a light on obviously what it's like to be you and to talk about your writing with people that maybe don't know what you do.
Yeah. So whenever I go to a dinner party or someplace, I actively avoid saying what I do because I suck all the oxygen from the room. It's just like, "Oh, you're a sexologist." Well, and then all focus is on me. And, and I, and people, and then sometimes people start asking me very personal questions. And, I don't know. I sometimes just don't feel like a dinner party is the place to be talking about this. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm just uptight. But yeah, usually when I first started doing this 25 years ago, I would be so happy to talk about being a sexologist. But now when somebody says, "What do you do for a living?" I say, "I'm a writer." And that's all I say. And generally it's like saying, you sell insurance. People aren't interested, that's about the end of the conversation. So sometimes some people say, "Well, what do you write?" And I say, "Nonfiction." And they say, "Nonfiction in what?" And I say, "Nonfiction in relationships." I do everything I can to avoid having that conversation. And if they, and then if there's somebody that I know they're like, "Oh, you've got to find out what she does." And then then I have to start, and then and it's not that I don't like talking about things. It's just, it's like the kids the cobbler's kids who don't have any shoes. I just, I'm there and I don't really necessarily want to talk about my job, but, and everybody wants me to analyze them. "Oh, tell me about, how I am doing." No, I really don't want to.
I imagine you get a lot of questions based on your experiences and your professional side of things. So is there a common theme that crops up a lot when you get asked something?
Oh, yes. So it generally is how much sex is normal. Am I normal? I like this. I really like doing this. Is that normal? It's that there's just so much shame in our society about sex, and like you can't like sex too much and you can't like sex too little. You have to like sex just the right amount, and it can't be too wacky and it can't be too boring. But and so like these parameters, people are like, I just don't know what is normal. So that would be, am I normal? And that I like something that's sort of outside of the realm of what we're supposed to be doing, is that okay? And yeah. And the other big question I get is the G spot. How do you honestly, if I have taught the G spot thousands of times because everybody wants to know. And here's the irony, only about there's no real research or scientific data, but only about 30% of women will be able to. And of the 30% who are able to have a G-spot orgasm, some of them just won't like it. And some of them, it's an even smaller percentage of women who will want to do it on a regular basis. And I have a girlfriend who's she said to me, I don't like being a performing seal. It's just sort of it's expected of her, that she can just produce it just like that. And she's like, I just don't like that. So, I mean, the G-spot's supposed to be the holy grail of, giving satisfaction. And ironically, 70% of women probably can't. And, anyways, we're getting off topic.
Yeah, I was going to ask a question. Obviously, you said about the title, the Taboo Show, being on the nose. But I think as someone who's not necessarily read in this area, taboo just sounds like you've got sex and then you've got taboo is the things that are sort of outside the periphery in terms of, they're the things that are sort of people's deepest, darkest desires type thing. So I suppose my question is, what are people going to get by reading this book, and who do you think would enjoy it?
That's a great question, Chris. So you're right. The taboo is has that connotation to it. I would say that this book really shows women and couples different ideas that they can bring in. So as I said, when one lady takes a tantric, one lady, they all are doing something. They are all trying something different at this Taboo Show. And outside of the Taboo Show, I'm also writing about things for women to try. So my sex positive character, Amy, who's into everything. She's that woman who's into everything. She tries Wiccan sex magic, which, it was interesting to write about. But so my point is, not everybody's going to want to, pleasure themselves to a full moon. Is not maybe something you're into, but, I was just like, how can I get some ideas about different ways that you and your partner, or you just yourself, you don't have to have a partner to read this book, but different ways that you can bring ideas and to show not just what it's like, but this person's experience. And I think that's what I've done really well with my writing, which is tantric is what, we know Sting does tantric, and that's about all we know about tantric. So what is tantric? And you think, well, it's just a little too woo-woo for me, and I'm just an average person. Why would I try tantric? But after you go through that story arc with that character who's a cynic, and you go to the other side, and you actually see, well, actually, it's not that woo-woo. It's very powerful and can add a deep level to your relationship, right? But I don't think you could get that understanding if I was just explaining to you what tantric is.
So there's two questions off the back of that. An observation that Chris has been laughing a lot since you mentioned something about the moon. Now, Is that a thing?
Sorry, it was
Full moon?
the pleasure yourself to a full moon comment. Just it made me laugh. Like
I
I
did
don't know
too.
why, but
And you were making me
it
laugh.
just got me.
So is there anything behind that? Because I'm intrigued now. A full moon, does it affect anything sexually? Because it affects
I
the
don't.
eyes, it affects your body, like mentally.
I don't know, but I did do research into it. It's all anecdotal, but it is said, and I don't know if this is true, but from the research that I did on Wiccan sex magic, women were burned at the stake because their sexual power was just too much. And so like this sexual power that women have, whether that's from the full moon, I don't know. But, apparently, there's a big group of women who believe in this Wiccan sex magic. They believe the moon does depart some energy on them. I'm more of a skeptic, right? But I think, what harm can it do? Like, there's a full moon, you're pleasuring yourself, I mean, no harm, no foul. It's just, and if it makes you feel good, it makes you feel better, it makes you feel like something magical happened, then why not?
I was going to say, let us know, but please don't. And the other thing is, you mentioned tantric quite a lot. And for someone who might not have a clue what that is, can you kind of explain what it is? And if they're really maybe skeptical, like you just mentioned that word a few times, if they're skeptical but are interested, what's the best way for them to sort of look into it without being overwhelmed?
So tantric is really just an exchange of energy, and it's about suppressing the big O so that you build up the pleasure in your body. And, there's a lot of, so I think the reason people might be cynical or dismiss it is because it's very slow. So the way we know how to have sex is generally pretty fast, right? So you're sitting across from your partner, maybe you've got your hands on each other's chests and you're looking in each other's eyes and you're breathing, and people are like, oh dear God, no, like that's just awful. No, don't make me do that. But I would say that people who are enjoy sex and are the people who do slow down, and you don't necessarily have to do tantric, but that you are sort of getting connected with your partner. And so, and if you want to try something that's really not intimidating, is when you are sitting, if you have a partner, and you can even do this with yourself if you don't have a partner, is just to put your hand on their chest, and you will actually start to feel an energy flow, and I know that sounds woo woo, and I wouldn't have believed it about myself, but it's the truth. And if I can say so do a before and after. So, before you have intimacy and after you have intimacy, do this. And I promise you, after intimacy, that electrical connection is going to be stronger. Try it.
There's your quest for the weekend, Valentine's weekend, then.
Yeah. Going on to Valentine's Day, I was going to give you a scenario of 3 different couples. So we've got a couple who are going on their first date for Valentine's Day, and they've thought about potentially being more intimate. So what advice would you give to them? Also, you've got the couple who are sort of 6 months into their relationship. They're enjoying things, but they're wanting to maybe spice it up a little bit. What advice would you give to them? And then finally, you've got the couple who have been together for, let's say, 10 years. And when you say sex, they say, what's that? So what advice would you give to them?
So I would say for the couple who are brand new, I'm an old married woman. I've been married for 23 years. I've got 2 kids. I would say just slow down, like don't jump into bed, like really like take that courtship time with each other and that build up and that just let it get really juicy, right? Like just, relax. you're going to have intercourse anyways. So just, get to know each other, let it start to simmer, and, and find out about each other. For the couple who are with each other for 6 months, I would say this is where bad sex habits start to form. So the majority of us learn 1 or 2 ways to have sex, and that's what we do, and that's what we know. So, and there's a misnomer that, women lose interest in sex, but I would say it's because sex is uninteresting that women get bored, and if it's not dealt with, they become apathetic, and that's why you have to get my books. But at this point of 6 months, this is the time to start having those conversations with your partner, because things are still new, and you still can have, hey, let's try things out conversations. Because after about 2 years, that, hey, let's have the, try something new conversations they just stop, which is unfortunate. For the couple who have been together for 10 years, I would say that it's really, like, for me, and I'm just the expert here. I've just been doing this for 25 years. So, like, what do I know? But so I would say that sex really is all the things that happen outside the bedroom. So it's really about every single day doing something to show your partner that they are a priority, whether that's, giving them a smooch, or, saying, you look hot today, or, sending them a flirty text. But it's really about, it's called, just Dr. Justin Lemaire calls it erotic threads. And it's really just about starting to create erotic threads outside the bedroom, so that you feel a lot more connected, because the majority of women in long-term relationships have what's called a delayed sexual response. Do you want me to go into this? They have a delayed sexual response. So meaning when sex is initiated, she will not feel like having sex, and it's going to take time for her brain to catch up with her body. So when she walks into the bedroom, she needs 2 things. She needs to feel safe, and she needs to feel supported, and she needs to feel desired. And if she feels safe, supported, and desired, and she feels it's going to fill her up. So these things that you're doing outside the bedroom to connect and create these erotic threads is going to shorten her delayed sexual response. So, so if you're that 10-year couple and you're just disconnected, it's really about just getting, and it takes like less than a minute a day, but it's just showing your partner, hey, I really think you're great and hot and, luscious. And I want you to know how much I desire you. And when you start that dynamic between the 2 of you, it's going to really create a different energy.
I think it's great advice. And actually, Anya said in the comments, this advice is spot on. Massages and love notes are generally a great idea daily. But also, like, the fact, people get sucked into their work life, and, you've got a family and you've got work and things. So that becomes a bit of a distant thing for some people. And I think that's where making that effort will make the difference in that sense, what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, when I first started doing this, and I was just brand new married, I had no idea about, being married with kids and stuff. I would say, you and your partner need to spend an hour, every week, just sitting down, and people were like, no, but you can, take 1 minute a day to do something kind for your partner. Like, we all have that time, and that accumulation of kindness and desire and erotic threads are like, it's going to go so far in your relationship.
Here's a question then. If someone wants to be enticing on a phone, like a message to the partner, we've never done it before, where did it, have you got an example of what they should, how they start that off?
You know what? I would just, honestly, this is not my best forte. I'm terrible at sexting. Ask my husband. It's just like, anyways, so I'm not the person to give advice. I would say go onto ChatGPT and ask for some suggestions. Like, the ChatGPT probably has better ideas than I do.
I'm going to find out right now.
but I, what I do, like, I just came across this wonderful tool, and this is so off topic, but it's not even answering your questions, but it's called Melba app, MELBA, Melba app. And what it is you and your partner go onto the Melba app, you decide how curious you are and what you want to do. And one part, so you want to try. So the thing is, couples want to try things out. They want to do new things. They want to, like, they don't know how to talk about it. They don't know, so what do you do? So you get the Melba app, you decide where you are with curiosity. And then one partner lays on the bed. The other partner has headphones in, and Melba is giving step-by-step instructions on how to do that thing. And I think Melba has solved, like, for me, I'm like, it's just that we were talking about, you can't bring a book into the bedroom and go, hey, just hold on. I just have to look this up, wait, just, okay, the instructions are, so I think for couples, there are so many tools out there, and you have, like, you go onto Instagram and you can't swing a cat without hitting a sexpert like me, and we all are servicing different people, different demographics, but all of us have YouTubes, and we all have Substacks, and we all have podcasts. And so, I mean, the ability to get information to help you and your partner elevate things in the bedroom. And also, like, you can, like, my books, I would say my books do a really good job of telling couples what women are really thinking, when it comes time for sex. And sometimes, not just sometimes, a lot of times women just do not know how to tell her partner what she needs to tell her partner. And that's not her partner's fault. And that's not her fault. It's just the way things are. And so my book is like, and this is what it is, and I do not hold back. And I think it's this, I think that's a really good place to start a conversation with your partner. It's just like, I had no idea you felt that way. And it's like, yeah, I do feel that way. If that makes sense to you.
It does.
It does. So I was going to ask another question, which slightly brings the mood down a little bit, but relationships are on the decline in terms of people are actively opting out of being in relationships and being more independent, but also divorce rates are going up at the highest rate that they've ever been. So in your professional opinion, what's going wrong in these relationships?
Well, I would say every single relationship, there comes points in that relationship where, there's a big crack and they have to decide whether they're going to stay or whether they're going to go. And like our parents' generation, they just assumed that they were going to stay with their partner. Like, that was just the way you did things back then, whether you were happy or you were not happy. So my anecdotal observation, watching my nieces and nephews in their marriages now, they hit this critical juncture where, they're in the trenches and it's really tough, and, they're hanging on by their fingernails. And I just don't know if there's that same mindset of, we're going to work through the crummy part of our marriage to get through to the other side. And I'm sure that there's many, many other answers. I also think, social media and technology and disconnection. I mean, we still are talking about not bringing your phones into the bedroom. And so, when we talk about, prioritizing your partner, the reason I keep having to say this message over and over again is, people are just disconnected from their partner because they're connected to other things. So I think there's a myriad of reasons why the divorce rate is up. and I don't think you can pinpoint it to anything, but definitely I feel like I've been through the juncture, that the crack in the relationship a few times in my 23 years. And, who wants to go through that? Like, who wants to go through that? But what they don't tell you is when you get to the other side of that situation, you're closer as a couple. And like, it's like I'm at a place with my husband now where, like, we can have a huge drag out fight, and I know neither of us are going anywhere. Like, we're staying here in the relationship, and there's something really supportive about that. But we couldn't have gotten here unless we went and made it through those cracks. But yeah, I know. I just don't know if people have the will, want, or desire to go through to wade through that to get to the other side.
I think you're absolutely right, and especially in the UK, I think the consensus back in the day was that you get, a career-long job, and you get a mortgage, and you get into a long-term relationship or marriage, and everything's changing in that sense through its culture. So people are renting, not buying. They're changing jobs every 5 years. Everything's changed, and we're looking at the ban of social media for young people in schools and things now. If that comes in, things will change again. So I think it's how our culture's shifting that's dictating a lot of the responsible outcomes for that sort of survey. But thank you for that advice. Would you like to see what AI has come up with as answers for sexting?
I would love to. Let's see.
So it's amazingly well. If you don't use AI, it's a bit hit or miss. The information can be good, it can be bad. But what this has done really well, it's broken up into different sections for sexting. Okay, so we've got confident and direct, playful and teasing, and slow burn build tension. So I'll read one or two out of each and let me know what you think about them. So
ask Chris. Ask Chris what he thinks about it, because
all right,
don't
Chris,
ask me.
Are you ready, Chris?
I mean, I'm ready. I don't feel qualified for this. We do have a sexologist, but I'll give it a go.
It's going to be awkward because I'm reading the sext that I would send to someone to you.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
So, okay, so I haven't stopped thinking about you since this morning.
Oh, that's nice.
Like it.
Is that a sext?
You send me that all the time, to be fair.
To be fair, yeah. This is confident and direct. Okay, so we'll see where this goes. Number 2 on that list is you have no idea what I'm gonna do to you later.
Is it a full moon?
I think that sounds a little stalkerish. Like,
yes.
Like, I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, it does. Sounds murderish.
Clear your evening. I need you.
Oh.
See, as a man, it could be like, have they got a broken tire? Do they need picking up from somewhere? Like,
yeah,
none of those were sexy. I don't think AI is the way forward with
that wasn't under the playful and teasing bracket, which this one is. So as Anya says, they're channeling Dexter's inner voice, or Joe Goldberg, maybe. Playful and teasing says, remember what happened last time we had the house to ourselves. That could be we spent ages cleaning up. Depends on your relationship, I suppose.
Binge watch a TV series, maybe. I think we're stuck. One of my questions I was going to ask on the back of this, I suppose, and Anya's just reminded me when she said Dexter's in a voice, is what do you think of the portrayal of sex on TV and how the sort of landscape has changed with that in terms of how women are presented, how men are presented, and what you're seeing in fiction that you think is a good thing for people?
Oh, I'm so glad you're asking me this question. So my poor husband, when we're watching shows and a sex scene comes on, I'm like throwing things at the TV. I'm like, that's not how it works. That's not what you do. And I'm saying, that's a male producer. That's a male producer. It's a male producer because, only men would be having fun with that situation, and I'm like, do something for her. Wrong hole. Like, so these are all the things that I am like screaming. And and now with women producers, we're starting to see like, what women want. So you two probably don't watch the Bridgerton series, but Bridgerton is done with a female director. And let me tell you, it's like, yeah, check, 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 and check, because it's really focusing on what women want to do. And the bane, as far as writing books go, the bane of my existence has always been romance novels. Romance novels really are porn for women, and they give completely unrealistic ideals about what sex should be and how women should feel. Like, you read things like, the moment his serpent entered my I felt, yeah, and I was just, and I'm like, no, it's not. It's not how it works. Anyways, so I just had to stop. I can't, like, when I get to, I don't read romance, but when I read books that have sex scenes in them, I tend to skip them because I just can't. I just can't deal with them, like, because it's not how things work. And there are a few writers that are starting to write more accurately and in the romance genre, and full credit to them. But I would say, on TV and in books, how sex is portrayed is very, and please don't get all wiggy on me, but sex is very male centric. It's all about him and his pleasure and what he wants. And, she's sort of the vessel, and she's just going along with things. And it's a big reason why women in long-term relationships lose interest in sex, because that's not how, it's just, sex becomes very lopsided because it's very focused on one side, one person's pleasure. And before we get nasty comments, women have to start asking for what she wants. She has to tell her partner what she needs. And the only way that her partner's going to understand is if she starts speaking up. So it's like, it's not anybody's fault. It's just the way things are.
Fantastic. I was going to say, up in the chat, I wonder if Chris will ask about that movie. But before I speak about that, you mentioned books about talking about sex and the portrayal of sex in books. So we can't avoid the elephant in the room in that world of books, which is 50 Shades of Grey, which was a massive hit, which was very popular. How, in your mind, was that portrayed? And was it at all realistic to anyone's kind of life? Or was it just maybe there's a very small minority that might have lived like that?
So I'm so happy that there are things to help women's desire and arousal. Like, for some women, I talk to women about tapping into her five senses, right? And a good way for a woman to get her juices going is to read a bit of erotica. And so I think 50 Shades of Grey is a work of fiction. And, if you read it and it starts getting your juices going and, it's going to propel you into the bedroom, then, all the power to you. But as far as, that whole genre, the billionaire, he's got lots of money and, and the woman on, so it's a fantasy. It's like porn. Like, if we're talking porn, we're talking the same thing here. It's porn for women, and porn is just entertainment. People can take it too far, like all of that stuff, but it's essentially just entertainment. What you see in porn is not how you have sex. It's just entertainment. The same is true with romance novels. It's not how we have, it, but, I don't see anything wrong with 50 Shades of Grey if that's what you like to read and that's going to get you going, and, that's wonderful. But the actual writing, I shouldn't say, but yeah, I'm not a big fan. but E.L. James, you know,
Yeah.
she hit on a nerve of something that people really, really wanted. So good for her.
Yes.
I've got a really good question, I think, that I've never had the opportunity to ask, and I think it's worth asking because obviously you mentioned about being an educator, and we try and educate people on the show, obviously about writing, but we also talk about mental health, and we also talk about various different landscapes. And one of the things is that's sort of, if you type into the internet sex, especially as a young boy, that's looking to discover things about it, you might fall into that manosphere trap of, you know, negative influences around sex and what sex should be and what it should look like. So I think this is a really good opportunity for us to maybe tackle that section, that if somebody typed in on the internet, you know, what is sex, or how can I have sex, or what should sex be like, for that particular group of people, like young boys, young adults going into that space, for us to be able to sort of combat it now with, like, you know, we've got 5 minutes left, but what would you say to sort of combat all the potential negativity that they're going to come across, and what would your advice be to them in a positive light?
So if we're talking about young boys, you said 10? Yeah.
No, not 10, like older, like
Teens.
basically when they start thinking about sex and, you know, developing, probably from puberty onwards, in terms of
10.
Is it? Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know how it is in the UK, but here in Canada and a lot of places in the States, we start sex education early. And some people say it's too early. But one of the things that they're trying to get across with the sex ed to young kids is this idea of, you know, being smart about what you're having an opinion of your own, you know. So you're looking at this manosphere and you're like, it doesn't feel good here, but they're telling me it's right. So it's being able to differentiate. So as a parent and as you know, it's so important for us to give our values to our kids, so that when so at about 13, so they will listen to us and our advice, and studies show that kids want their parents to talk to them. They want the parents' advice. So you have about until 13 years old to cram as much information as you can into your child's head about what you find to be right and wrong, and have that open conversation with them, so that when they at 13 they stop listening to you and they start listening to their friends, and they're on the internet, and you know, they're going down rabbit holes, like you say, that maybe are destructive rabbit holes. They have that self-confidence to say, yeah, no, that's not for me. That doesn't seem right. You know, this is not consent. This is really, like, it's really shady stuff. So that doesn't really speak to the teenager. I feel like there's so there's, I just know that the more education that we can give to kids, the better choices they make. And metadata over many decades has shown that the more education we can give to kids, the better the decisions that they're going to make. And so, I guess my long answer to your short question is advocate for more education in your schools and, you know, online. So many great sexperts online for kids, but there's this idea I've heard it from so many parents. They're teaching my child at 5 years old. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. Like, what's going on? It's just like, you want it to start at 5, and they're teaching age appropriate at 5. And because this is setting them up for a successful life and sex.
You're quite shocked, Chris, when she said 10.
No, was it? I mean, just in terms of puberty and stuff, and thinking back to I don't think I was 10 years old when I was thinking about sort of potential partners in that way. Like, I may have had friends and and things like that. But I don't think I'd have been 10 years old. I think looking back on it for me, I think maybe sort of 13, I would start to look at other people as if to say like, oh, I find them attractive. I don't necessarily know what this feeling is. But yeah, 10 did
So
shock
10,
me. And
yeah, so 10 is for kids start to go online and be curious. So that was your question, and generally at 13 they start finding other people attractive, other people than themselves. They start finding them attractive.
I just thought it was important, obviously, to try and sort of get a snippet that we could potentially say, look, if you've gone down that rabbit hole and you're on TikTok and you're getting all of these influences, there is a different way to think about relationships. And I think what you said, obviously, education at an early age is a good thing. But I just don't think there's enough spaces. I mean, maybe there is, and I've just overlooked them. But I think the reason why so many young boys are being pulled into these spaces is it's the money, it's the cars, it's the persona that the people are taking on board, and then they're going, oh, I want all of those things, and therefore that person has now become sort of an idol to me, so therefore I have to think and feel the same way that they do. And I think what you said about the strength of a parent being involved in and having conversations with that child is really, really important, so that they don't get lost in that sort of world where, it seems flashy and everything that they want to aspire to be, and they sort of start to mold themselves around that. Like, yeah, it's difficult. And I think back to being a kid, like I wanted role models at sort of 13. Like, and if I'd have picked the wrong role models, which I could easily see happening now with TikTok, my life could have been very different. But for me, like, role models were like, sports stars, or maybe I had a famous actor that I really liked that I wanted to be like, and they were the good guy in the press and things like that, and they were getting married, and yeah. So I'm just waffling now, but I think it's important that there's a potential space where someone can look.
Yeah, we need good role models, definitely do.
Yeah.
Who's got dogs? It's not Chris. They sound like big dogs. What are they? Hang on, don't tell me the names, because we like to guess. Just one dog?
Yes, and he is a Lab and Pyrenees, and he's the most gentle dog, but he is a guard dog, so he's got this ferocious bark. Yeah, and his jam is going for dog walks at -15. So like that's his happy place. He's at the dog park and he's high-fiving all the other dogs. They're just.
Trina, did you or your husband name the dog?
So I think we I don't know, we got him and we just sort of settled on Max, but I call him Moo. I call him Moo. So he's I call him Moo. So
like
he answers to my husband as Max and he answers to me as Moo. So I don't I don't know why I call him Moo. Yeah.
But I don't think I would have ever got to the Max. So we're just over. So we can wrap it up, we can end it, we can advertise your links and stuff, or I've got like two. Hang on. Speaking of dogs, one just walked in. Come here. Oh my goodness, he's falling over. Oh. So there's Mike.
Oh, hello, sweetheart. Oh, you're beautiful.
He's very confused right now. So yes, we got 2 or 3 questions I pinched off the internet that people commented earlier. We can ask them if you've got time, or we can move on to.
Yeah, sure. We can. Yeah, it's your time. I'm here.
So, where have they gone? Just down here. Okay, we've got a question up here, and this is from David D. How do I bring up a new fantasy to my partner without making it awkward or making them feel like they're not enough?
I would just say, go and find an article about fantasy and share, like, why fantasies are good, and how they're healthy, and like they spice up your relationship, and it has, it's not because I don't desire you, it's because I want to add to this, and send that to your partner, and and then after they read it, just have a little discussion with them. So the hardest thing that we can do as human beings is have a conversation about sex. And it's astonishing that you can be with somebody for 30, 40, 50 years and share your body, but you cannot share your words.
Yeah.
So I would say, none of us have practice at talking to our partner about sex, and that's why it's so awkward. But here's the thing. There are so many resources available to you that can help you have this conversation. You could go onto a sexpert's YouTube who's talking specifically about fantasies, and, you can watch that together as a couple. And, full disclosure, the first time that you have this conversation with your partner, I want us to try fantasy, it's going to be awkward. And the thing is, you just need to lean into the awkwardness. Just lean into it. It's going to happen. It's like, the thing is, you're going to have this conversation and neither of you are going to die. It's going to be okay. And when you have this conversation, the next time you want to have a conversation, it's just going to be that much easier, right? And a lot of times, once you have that conversation in your head, you're thinking, well, why didn't I do this years ago?
Yeah.
It wasn't so bad, and we actually are doing something fun together, and we could have been doing this years ago, but I felt apprehensive bringing it up. So, honestly, I can list off 10 people's YouTube channels can give you some great advice about talking about your fantasies, and you can sit down on your couch and watch it on your TV, and then have a discussion with your partner, and then see what happens.
Yep.
And
thank you for the question and a great answer. Do you know what I've seen a lot on lately, and like you see on TikTok and places, like these little packs of cards that have, things for your partner to do. And we need a Dr. Trina Read version of these cards.
Yeah, no, those are great. And, it's one of those things where, those packs of cards have been around for 20 plus years, and, you have to be in the right frame of mind to do this with your partner. You have to both be into it. But when you are both into it, it really is a great experience. And they have games, they have cards, they have so many ways that you can, have a conversation, do something different. It's
brilliant. Right. I'll push through these. There's two more, and this one's relevant. So, since tomorrow is Valentine's Day, what is the number one mistake couples make on this holiday, and how can they avoid it? From Inc.
I would just say, anytime there's just so much pressure to perform, and I think we feel obligated to have a big Valentine's Day, and for it to be so romantic, and I would just say that you do you, as of whatever you don't have to follow what the script of what society says it should be satisfying to you. Like, you don't have to go out for dinner, and you don't need to get flowers if that's not your thing. Like, my husband, one Valentine's Day, he spent 3 hours fixing my computer. And that was like the best Valentine's Day gift he could have given me. It was not romantic. It was not traditional, but honestly, I loved him so much in that moment of just, sitting and fixing my computer. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It does, definitely. And the last one there we've got from social media. When writing intimacy in a novel, how do you keep it classy and character driven without crossing into purple prose or pure erotica? From Sammy.
Yeah, writing sex scenes is really, really tricky. And, if you go online, you'll see there's different levels of sex scene. So there's the closed door sex scene. Then, and I would say if you want to keep it classy, I would just go and look up what the different levels of sex scenes are, because to be frank, my sex scenes are all categorized as erotic, even though they're not erotic. My sex scenes are the opposite of erotica. Like they're just like the opposite of what erotica is, but Amazon has deemed me to be erotic. So, but I would say that there's a lot of writers online, not me, who teach how to write a good sex scene. And, and I just know that there are different levels of romance, and based on the level that you're comfortable with, but I'm not sure what classy means to you. It might, just be like, petting, or I don't know, but what, there's somebody out there teaching that, and it's not me.
I think ultimately, going off what you've talked about tonight, what you're writing is dependent on the audience you're trying to reach, because you're writing to, you mentioned about Bridgerton being directed towards women's sexual fantasies in that sense, and different things aiming towards men. So it depends on your audience, doesn't it? And how you write that will depend on how it's received by the right people. So you've got to kind of know your audience before you start.
Yeah, but just here's a like writing, like how you put your body parts in different, like I was like, okay, so the arm goes over here and the legs is over here, and then what happened? It's just like, oh my God, it's so hard.
Brilliant. So thank you for those questions, by the way. We don't always get them on social media. It tends to be in the comments, but so thank you very much indeed. Before we do wrap this up, Trina, where can people find out more about you? Where can they find you on social media and your website, and how can they buy the Taboo Show, which is out tomorrow?
Actually, the Taboo Show had to be pushed to the 28th, so it's coming out on the 28th. Yeah, so anyways,
pre-order it tomorrow.
Yeah, well, so I do have a pre-order gift bundle. So if you pre-order my Taboo Show, I've got a really juicy bundle of so it's read now and play later, and like the things that are in the Taboo Show I brought into the gift basket. So go take a look. There's some really, really fun stuff there. So if you go to my website, trinaread.com, on the homepage, you'll see the pre-order tab for the pre-order button for the Taboo Show. And you can check it out there. If you want to, and on my website, there's a lot of great handouts. So we're talking about education and talking to your partner, and so for example, on there I've got the 5 pleasure secrets for satisfied couples, and that's a free handout that you can pick up. There's a whole page of them. And if you want to follow my YouTube channel, it's all my social medias are at Dr. Trina Read. So my YouTube, my Instagram, they're all there. So that's the best way to get my stuff. I'm also on Substack, and that's like the Substack is great because I get shadow banned and blocked and everything on all the social medias for what I do. I just got blocked again today on Facebook. And if you go onto my Facebook, like it's pretty vanilla stuff. Like there's nothing salacious on my Facebook, and they shut me down. So I have to get it back up. But Substack is like the Wild West. Like you can do anything on Substack and they're okay with it. So we'll see how long that lasts.
But don't let that put you off, because we're on Substack and it's great. It's amazing. Like you go on X and it's ridiculous. You get some things you see on there you don't want to see. Whereas I think Substack, you can do what you want, but it's very respectful from what we've seen. I think
for sure.
It's great for authors. I think it really is.
It really is. I'm so happy to have gone on to Substack. It's been a really wonderful thing.
We've talked about that a lot. So pre-order the book. I have seen on your website that what you can win on there, and it's fantastic. So if you're at all interested in any of these things, if you're still watching or listening, you will be. Go on to Dr. Trina Read's website and pre-order that. We'll put the link in the description. But before we do go, Chris, have you got anything else to add? And there was something I was going to say. It's gone out my mind. Chris, over to you. You're muted, so we can't hear you.
Oh, I was going to echo the doctor's words. I was just going to say, do Valentine's Day however you want to. And that includes everyone. If you're going on first date, if you sat at home alone, like just do what you want to do tomorrow. Enjoy yourself. And share the love by liking this video.
It's not a full moon tomorrow, is it?
Maybe it is. It must be somewhere.
Yes, if you are going to do a full moon job or any kind of job, the word job is not the right thing to say right now. Remember to put your hand on your chest before and after, and then, see what the difference is. Brilliant.
This is the most interesting conversation you've had for a very long time.
It really is.
There are still so many questions to ask. Trina, thank you so much for joining us. Honestly, it's really interesting. There's it's what blows my mind is you're absolutely right with everything you talked about, and people share their bodies endlessly, but don't share their minds enough, and that's what's kind of the scary thing, sharing your mind. So if anyone can take anything from this, it's open up to each other and pick up the books and learn what else you can do as well. So thank you so much from me. You've been a great guest, and thank you very much.
Thanks for having me, guys. It was delightful. You two are delightful.
That's very nice of you. Everybody have a fantastic Valentine's Day tomorrow. And like Chris said, if you are on your own, it's absolutely fine. There are plenty of rom-coms, Chris Hooley, that they can watch.
Yeah, there's loads. I can't remember that. How can I not remember them?
I'll think of any. No, okay. Brilliant. So lots of rom-coms you can watch if you really want to get in that mood. But if you want to avoid it completely, do that as well. But if you are in a relationship, you are having a great Valentine's night, please do enjoy yourselves. But everybody, if you're not and you want to write, do that as well. We'll be supporting you, but we'll see you next week. The best thing is, please stay safe, have a great weekend, and hope you've enjoyed the interview. Leave a comment, hit the like button, and subscribe if you haven't done so. And hopefully we'll see you at Harrogate or at the London Book Fair next month. So from us, it's goodbye. Thank you very much. Thank you, Trina.
It was La La Land. Watch La La Land.
Don't watch it. Terrible. Bye.